Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland. We are the worst podcast on YouTube, but that doesn't stop us, does it, Gav? Hello, Mr. Gav from She-War. You're right, cheeky.
Nothing seems to stop you, Dan. Nothing at all. I just want to say, Dan, before we come on the show, before we start the show, why didn't you brush your beard, mate?
Good
idea. It looks a bit messy.
There might be some ladies watching.
Exactly. That's it. Do that side as well. That's it. Both sides. Get the cheesy Watsits out of there.
I can't hear you because I've got myself playing in the background like an amateur. There you go. Yeah, my beard looks well. I did my hair last night as well.
Did you?
Yeah, a little bit. Father's Day next week, isn't it? So Sian's going to come home and get 5 minutes of her time. It'll be the second time this year I've seen her. I gave that child the best years of my life and lost my figure, and now look, might as well be dead. Talking of people who live in Norwich, it's not Ellis, it's the other one. I can't remember his name. Is it Nick? It's Nick or Ellis?
It's a good-looking one.
Oh, it's Nick. You're right, cheeky.
All right, Danny. Is football back yet?
No, we're talking cricket and golf tonight. And
rugby. Cricket and snooker.
That's it, and that one. It's all about the balls, whatever we're talking about. I've got no idea. Yes, football is back very, very soon. And I see your lot have already started injecting themselves with their own dribble to try and get the league cancelled because one of your lot came up with, he's got the virus, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was one of two players in the Premiership, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it's him and his conjoined twin. I don't know. You'd have to do that. Would that count as two people if you had a conjoined twins in goal? You go, no, we're one person. That's an idea. That needs to be done. I'll get Barnett to do it. God knows they need the help. Anyway, enough of your waffling, Nicky. You nearly got 3 whole words in there before I interrupted you. From our other man from sunny Canada, it's Cory. Are you okay?
I'm well. Yeah, excited to see football come back. That's for sure.
Is it 11:36 a.m.?
Correct.
Hey, look at me with numbers.
There you go. I'm actually quite impressed.
Well, it's taken. I mean, I've known Jeff in Canada for about 45 years now, and it's taken me that long to realise they're 8 hours behind. And if you change your clocks, I will be completely and utterly lost.
No doubt. I think actually this last time we changed the clocks back might be the last time we do it. So.
Oh, you having a referendum on clocks?
I believe they are doing that. Yeah, I don't know if they've actually done the referendum or if it's already yet to come or something like that. But yeah, I know they're talking about it.
Not only are we the worst football podcast on YouTube, we are now giving you Canadian referendum info on bloody time. There you go.
So would it be the same? I've got to ask. So would it be the same time on the East Coast as the West Coast?
The referendum, I believe, is for them to just do it on the West Coast provinces so far. So, but we already have differences in that. So, for instance, I think it's Saskatchewan, which is right, one of the central provinces. I want to say they don't change their clocks anyway. It's mainly a farming province, and I believe they don't change their clock anyway. But I could be wrong. Again, I am not a good source for political information.
So basically, nobody knows what time it is in bloody Canada, and no one's going to know what time it is in Canada.
That's correct. Well, see,
Dan, move on, Dan.
Our decision here is based on the fact that they want to do it down the entirety of the West Coast. So it was triggered by California, Oregon, and Washington State asking that question, and so. Because most of our trade goes north-south, it made sense for us to just follow and do what they do. So that's kind of why the question came up.
I wish I hadn't have asked now. Thank you very much. If there's anybody left who hasn't run away, we've only got Canadians all sitting around going, "Oh, hey." How many time zones in Norwich, Nick?
We don't know. We haven't got time in Norwich. We're still struggling.
It's still 1932 back there, isn't it?
Yeah, we've still got cats around there.
Another one of our warm-up shows. I've got to say hello to people in the chat. First of all, there's Data. Hopefully Data's in a good mood and isn't going to call anyone a prick. That would be lovely. But if you want to, you can. There's Phil Macker in there. I'm ready. Well for the live. He's done that on purpose. Well for the live pod, not for. He's ready for the live pod, not for footy. I'm saying hello, everyone. Data has done. Oh, look at that straight away. He's picked the lineup for the Gabby. Is it? What's Gabby? Oh yeah, of course it is Martinelli. Might come back to that later. Thunder is here. Norwich's own Nicky Wilson and Canada's own Cory Austin have to love the alliteration with the names of city and country. Oddly, Gav is moving to Guernsey because that's where all my family come from, isn't it, Gav? You are off soon.
You're talking to me?
Yeah, the alliteration of our names. You got to live with someone beginning with the letter G. Gibraltar. Warm. Post boxes.
Nah, no idea.
Oh,
it won't be. I'll tell you what it won't be. It won't be Gillingham.
No,
and it won't be any godforsaken place north of Watford either.
That's not happening. Right, Loki says, evening all. Hello, Loki. How is PE 22 or 23? I'm not sure. It's his postcode. He's just up north a little bit from here. Oh, Thunder Road again. Rather see Tierney and Saka, or Tierney or Saka at left back than Kolasinac. He'll get done. Yes. I think Kolasinac is out. Oh, there's a Cory in here. Oh, it's our Cory. There he is, in case you wonder what he looked like. Those chiseled good looks of a hard-living life. Rudy Rudy says, hopes we are all well. Thunder says, is that Gav or Arsenal realist? Believe me, Gav does not have the ability to run more than one Twitter account. He can barely do his own, can you, Gav?
Pass.
Loki says, I've had a bubble cut. I feel fine. I know what is a bubble cut? Oh, that could be some kind of perverse sexual term, couldn't it?
I think it's where you invite somebody round to cut your hair who lives on their own, and they put like a load of face masks over themselves, and they cut your hair at arm's length.
Good.
Right. Yeah. Who cares? Go on.
Rudy says his hair is a mess. No one needs that. Gonna scam. Oh, there we go. Ryan from the Mr. Arsenal podcast. I think I've been on there. I think that's when it does the quizzes. I always get Ryan and the Irish bloke who moved to Canada. I always get their names mixed up, like Ross and Josh. Nobody knows why. I just do. Loki, about time Canada. No one says about there. Someone called me out earlier this week for spelling about ABOOT. It was Jim Howson. That was it. Yes. Rudy says, has anybody suffered from corona? Nope, because I've left the house twice since February.
Well,
are you okay?
We've all suffered. That's an open question there. But, no, I haven't caught anything. Very healthy.
Oh.
All good here.
Icky?
All good here.
I had something in January, but they weren't talking about corona then. They said it was a virus, so...
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Sexy Frank had it in December. He missed the whole of Christmas, and Frank is never ill. A new person, useless, pathetic noob. Hello, y'all beautiful bastards. Hello, y'all beautiful bastard yourself. Archie says, "What is this kind of talk? It's nonsense, Archie. This was quite a while ago. This was 7:38. This was 4 minutes ago. That was absolute nonsense. We're sorry about that." Either Phil says he thought it was a football podcast. Right, I'm not going to read every single comment because you lot are all. Oh, we've got another person here. Here we go. Yeah, I have to check it first. Vinny Eagle, he says, is it time to start a We Care Do You movement? Can see clubs like Chavsky splashing the cash. We haven't even offered a deal to Alba. Board and club is a joke. You put that very politely. The people running the club are arseholes.
Everybody, the majority of people that was involved in setting that up last year still speak to each other.
Oh, so it could be on the cards.
It's tricky. I mean, you like I say, the main concern you've got is obviously the fact that not necessarily the amount of money that's spent on new players or the quality on the pitch. The important thing at the moment is that the club is in a financially viable position to move forwards. Obviously, without expecting the Cronkies to chuck money in. If they did chuck money in, that'd be brilliant. But there's ramifications if they do start putting money in. So, but like I say, the majority of the people that started up that movement are speaking. The ones that aren't speaking, we're in touch with. So, initially, all that was to do, that was set up just basically because only Arsenal could have 3 or 4 official and unofficial supporters. Clubs of significant numbers was just to make sure there was some form of united front going forwards when we had something that we really wanted to say to the club. But it really is a case of, if you bark every day, the club aren't going to take much notice. But if you bark once every 6 months or a year and you bark fucking loudly, then they might. But like I say, everybody is keeping an eye on shit, trust me.
Well, Rudy, whose sources I always trust because he's never led us down a dark path and beaten us as ever our own shoe so far, says, Albert gave an interview to French TV. He said that he isn't in talks with Arsenal over a new contract currently. Arsenal know what he wanted them to do before signing a new contract. And Thunder and a few others are talking about Chelsea at the moment, but they've already bought, is it Ziyech from Ajax? Magnificent striker, person plays in the kind of Bergkamp hole. I think he plays everywhere across the front. They've got that bloke, is it Timo Werner from Germany?
They're going to go for. Yeah.
Plus, you got the young man they got from Dortmund last season, the American. They've got so many great players that are. And what are we doing?
It's all lined up because they couldn't do any transfers for a year, and they've had all these lined up. So it's no real shock because basically they couldn't buy anybody last year, so they're almost a year in front. Plus, obviously, they've got a sugar daddy owner. Certainly
do. Julian Salmon is late, but I'll accept that. He said, evening, boys. Hope you're well. Thoughts on Upper Menicano? We'll talk about that later. What is Archie's? But if Saka leaves, we riot, not for Alba. Yeah, burn the stadium down, start again. Lovely. Right, we're going to move on to some of the notes that I've made. We did this for the last show, just to get different people's opinions on the same question. Start with you, Nicky. Your thoughts on the season restarting?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they've got a restart. Even though is it League 1 and 2 they've finished as well?
Because have been robbed.
Yep. So, and has everyone who's like at the top and the bottom been relegated and promoted? They've gone on the standings, have they?
They have gone by points per game, and Peterborough lost out by 0.005 points per game, even though they scored the most goals in the league. And
I expect there'll be a lot of people, a lot of clubs protesting and, like trying to fight that in court. But I mean, it is what it is. That they want to restart it to make up the money, but I don't know if they should be starting it. Yeah, obviously no fans. I don't think they'll let any fans into the stadium until they got some kind of vaccine, which could be at the end of this year or more likely this time next year. But I think a lot of clubs are going to think, well, if they're not going to get any fans coming, they're going to have to sell a lot of players or try and work out to make a lot more money. But we'll see what they see. I mean, they're testing everyone. We were talking before, there's only 2 players at the moment that have tested positive for Corona, one at Arsenal, one at Norwich. I can't remember where the other one was. So if he's just got to disappear for a week, does that mean he missed the first few games? I'm not sure, because we'll just have to see when the games kick off if anyone has to start missing games due to having it, because obviously they can't play. But if they're going to test them before and after every game and they've not got it, fair enough. You just have to hope that the referees are getting tested as well, and everyone involved is just being tested.
Oh, we've got another latecomer. Nitish Barn. Hi, guys. Hello, Nitish. You are late. I hope you have a good reason. We'll have that in writing. Cory, what's your thoughts from being so far away with... how's it been reported over there? Because I've not really spoke to anybody from outside of the UK about their feelings. And how's the general corona thing going on in Canada? I suppose as you're all so far apart over there, some places have probably had no cases.
Yeah, I suppose that has a lot to do with it. But we've been rather successful on the West Coast here, at least, with an early lockdown, if you like, and then. Everybody kind of did their part. We're already into what I guess people would call a second phase of a reopening, where I believe in the last week, restaurants have been allowed to open where they have people actually seated, stuff like that. So overall, I think we've been blessed over here. We get a lot more. We're saturated with more coverage about the United States with our media here. So, you see a lot of bad news. There's been some awful stuff out of our East Coast where it's more populated, but yeah, there's a lot more space, like you said. You got some elbow room over here, so the physical distancing was much easier, obviously.
So what do you think about the football coming back so soon? Would you have started the season again, or would you have knocked it on the head? If you take away the bias that if we knocked it on the head, Liverpool wouldn't have won the league. If you take that bit out, do you think you would have restarted it? We should do?
Well, my Arsenal fan would love to have seen the season ended with nobody winning anything. So, and just restart next year, obviously, because, screw Liverpool. But in reality, I obviously understand the reality of it. It's unfortunately become a money game, right? So this is a consequence. But on a personal level, of course, I love football. Growing up watching football on the west coast of Canada, you get very used to going to see football games with no people around. So, and a lot of tournament play, which essentially the last 10 games of our season is just basically a tournament for really 5th position and hopefully a prize of 4th position. I mean, if you look at the point spread between the teams that we are surrounded with, let's say from Southampton at 34 points to, let's say Manchester United at 45 points, that's 5th through 14th. We're all in this fight for 5th. And if any team wins that fight for 5th, they logically could be in contention for that 4th spot with Chelsea, right? So, as far as the rest of our season, if you want to just say as a football fan, I think it's going to be kind of neat. Look at it like a brand new tournament for the rest of the season where we've all been tiered into position. So, fresh start.
I mean, 5th could actually get you a Champions League place next year.
Yeah, what's going on with that? I've heard all sorts of weird stuff going on.
I think Man City have been kicked out, haven't they?
Right.
But they are appealing, but the appeal hasn't gone through yet, so it's still going to be it's still a bit up in the air, I believe. If anybody knows anything different.
Does anyone think there'll actually be any European football next year?
That's just what I was going to ask. Because you're going across national borders, right? That's different from asking your teams to do a domestic competition where they stay inside of England or,
well, I mean, when they go abroad anyway, they go by private plane. They park up, they get in a coach, they go to a hotel which is fairly close to the where we're playing. They do a bit of training the night before, and then they play, and then they get on the plane after the game. So I don't think there's much of a difference. I mean, if you think, look, Arsenal fly to bloody Norwich, right? There's what would the difference between flying to Norwich and flying to Paris be? Apart from an extra half an hour on the plane.
Listen, well. Sorry, go on.
Go on. Sorry.
Well, here with the NHL in North America, the one way they're going to approach it is by having like a destination city. They'll pick, like, say, I think it's 2, 3, possibly 4 locations where groups of teams will be basically quarantined in that one city and will play their schedule of games within that city, never leaving, let's say, the quarantine area. So you could find that could be an approach they could take in Europe, where you have a host city, say, for instance, and the different clubs that are competing go to that host city and play yet, like I said, another tournament. That
wouldn't really fit in with the domestic league at the same time.
Oh, you're right.
Do you see what I mean? But I mean, apparently that was actually looked into in finishing off the English Premier League. They were looking at doing host areas and taking over hotels and having 3 or 4 clubs in the same hotel playing each other, all their games, then going, sort of thing. So I mean that was rumoured one of the things they was looking at doing to try and get the money out of the TV companies, which is basically what it's all about. That's all it's about. The only reason they're finishing this season is to get the money out of TV companies.
Yeah, totally.
It's simple as that.
It's probably important to remember as well the specter of the possibility of a super league or whatever they wanted to call it, right? I mean, if football suffers as much as it could possibly suffer, you could see the birth of that super league that they always wanted.
That's not too far away. All of the top clubs have all own shares in a media company, which will probably bid for the rights for the next Champions League, and it will end up definitely within the next 5-10 years. It will end up with some form of European Super League type scenario, even if it is based on Wednesdays. But there will be all the top clubs involved in that with basically with a no relegation style thing. It will just be, Juventus and the Milans, and it will be Barca and Real, and it'll be Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and it will be probably Rangers and Celtic. It will be Ajax. It'll be like the top 1 or 2 clubs from every country, and they're all like I say, the vast majority of them are all heavily involved in the ownership of a media company which will stream games, and that's where it's going. Even the fact that there will eventually be streamed season tickets per club. The technology is there, and what the clubs want to do is to, as opposed to getting money off of Sky, is to take control of the money themselves. So, like I say,
Sky
that's
put all the infrastructure in.
Well, that's the thing. The way that the world is going, especially with regards to 5G, is you don't necessarily need cabling. 5G is basically going to make the whole world cable free. So all the cables that Sky have put in, and clubs like Arsenal, when we built the ground, we put our own cabling in, so we didn't have to pay for Sky's cables. Like I say, once it goes 5G, there's literally no need for that.
Listen, I just had a flash. A logical progression of what's going on now with no fans being allowed in their stadiums is where they're going to do exactly what you just said, where they're going to sell you season ticket streams for all of us lower category fans. And then for the category of fan that's considered to be more important than us, they'll have private boxes that alone within a stadium. There probably won't be much in the way of public access to stadiums in the future. I just had that as a flash thought, but I mean, could you see that as a possibility? And then if you introduce 5G, you could have that where this virtual reality as a fan doing the streaming. You could somehow be there, so to speak, but not.
There's so much that they can do, and it's like I say, the options are open, and they are planning for that. They are planning for the top clubs in Europe are planning to have their own individual TV deals, and like I say, the technology is placed. They've set up the company. 5G makes it a hell of a lot more easier to do. It's but like I say, we'll see when it starts. I mean, my major concern about when it starts is there's less. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be appalling. I'm going to personally. We spoke about this today with a group of mates. We're all going to watch the game on Zoom. So we'll set up a Zoom meeting, and we'll commentate between the 8 or 9 or 10 of us or whatever goes on there, because there's no even point in telling the volume on the TV, and there's no atmosphere. And some players respond positively to the atmosphere. Some players
Xhaka
respond negatively to the atmosphere. And I mean, like I say, even though Merson got absolutely hammered when he was saying that Arsenal defenders need the crowd there to make them more honest, he's possibly right. We're going to watch a hell of a lot of weird training ground type games, and with regards to the quality of the football, I don't think we're going to see that high quality, because the top players, they don't want to do it in front of 2 men and a dog. They want to do it in front of 60,000 people screaming their hearts out at them. So, like I say, that's what I guess I'm interested in. With that, you're going to see some players that don't necessarily perform on the bigger games, performing on the bigger games, because there's less stress and less pressure from the crowd.
On the same point, though, you're going to see players who are going to do the opposite. Some players are training players who aren't going to feel the pressure and are going to perform better. So, in balance. Yeah,
like I say, it's going to be very, very odd. I mean, I think someone like Lacazette might shine completely through it. I think he might be one of our star players going into the last few games. But it's just tricky. I mean, like I say, different people feed off different emotions and different crowds. Like, we'll go back to Ian Wright. Ian Wright loved an away goal. Perez loves scoring against Tottenham. Henry loves scoring against Tottenham. Are they going to get that same will and that same drive when there's not thousands of people cheering them on? And also, obviously, what I haven't seen hardly anybody speak about really is the fact that they've changed the laws on substitutions.
That's a question for later.
I'll shut up then. Right, go on. Well, that's my feelings on the breakdown. Let's go.
That was a wonderful hour and a half, Gav. Excellent. If you can keep your questions answered a bit shorter next time, that'd be lovely.
That was a good topic to touch on, though, mate. That was a very important subject to talk about, I think.
It is. I'm just being mean. That's why I was mean to Gav, and I was mean to you, Cory.
All right.
It's a good point. I want to clear up some of the stuff in the chat box. Vinny Eagle. He says, if a player has contracted it whilst they should be isolating, then that is a massively irresponsible. Michael in Sweden says hello. Archie is he's talking to Rudy. There you go. Thunder says, who hasn't put a thumbs up yet? I'm just going to go and have a look at it. How many have we got? We've got 9 up and 1 down. Shocking. Scumbags, a lot of you. And I'm just reading some of these. Right, there was another one. And some numbers is here. I suppose the ultimate question is, how many players in an individual team have to be isolated with COVID-19 before it is seen as unfair? Because we're going to see, like we said at the beginning of the show, the Norwich player, he's going to have to isolate for 7 days and then they'll be retested. So, Nicky, how many players do you reckon a team can have out before they go, it's unfair that you've got 14 players out, at kind of Lasagna Gate, but for COVID?
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about earlier, especially if they start going abroad. If they started up football and we went to Europa League or Champions League game or whatever, and then we come back and find out the next day that 2 Arsenal players have tested positive for it, even if the others haven't, they still have to self-isolate
everybody. Yeah.
So the whole team could be gone in one game, in one event, because they're all on the plane together, they're all on the bus together, and until that's a certain team complaining about it, that I don't think people are going to care that much. I mean, some of our players, I think that coronavirus would do them quite well. How terrible they are.
Do you think, Nick? Do you think that possibly the season might not finish because one team might get it and the team they were playing against they might get it, and then then it starts spreading? Because, like you were saying, if one person gets it, there's a good chance. Plus, people could have it and not know they've got it and think they're safe, and then give it to their teammates, and then it will spread like wildfire. Do you think that's a possibility that they'll have to call the season and go, no, sorry, it's spread too quick. We were too stupid to start it so soon?
Possibly. I think they're just trying to restart football and a few other things to keep people occupied after we come out of lockdown. Because obviously, well, other than some other stuff that's been going on just lately, nothing's really been happening for a long while. And there's probably going to be a second wave of coronavirus sort of spreading out. But to be honest, I think that they only really want to get a couple of games done so they can give Liverpool the title. And that'll be that. I mean, I don't... We're talking about sponsorships, and we were talking about it earlier. If there's no fans in the stadium, they're not going to want to pay. So, the sponsorships are not going to pay, the money they are. It's not just TV money. So I think Arsenal make about £3 million a match day. I think Spurs and a few other London clubs are similar, make a lot of money. And that's not just like the shirt sponsorships. When you actually get into the stadium, you've got the beer sponsorship. There's always a phone sponsorship, a car sponsorship. And whether or not, some of us we think, oh, that sponsors Arsenal, I'll buy that. It doesn't matter if it once you see the advertisement in the club, it's in your head. I remember a few years ago when me and my dad went to the Emirates. That's a funny noise. My dad went to the Emirates and he said, "What's this silly phone? That's a Huawei thing." And we just laughed, we couldn't say it. And when he got his phone contract due, they said, I know that. That's an Arsenal phone. I'll have that. And that's how they know.
That's why I had a JVC telly back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, JVC TV, Streamcast.
Can you give your old man the link to my shop, please? if he buys anything, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's good. Right, there was another few things that people have talked about. Archie, there we go. Archie says the verdict is in July. Vinny Eagle says, yeah, they're in July. But it's been quite, Man City have been quoted as saying we'd rather spend £50 million on lawyers and bankrupts, UEFA or FIFA, rather than let them get away with it. Don't need that one. Yeah, I'm still halfway. That's why the Chelsea fan got away with it, the scumbag, because I'm halfway up the chat. Data says she's looking forward to the games every game. Vinny says Orlando for NBA. Don't know what that means. Oh, and then Thunder says Disney for the NBA, and Data says it's Disney World, and then someone else
Jason's yelling at you.
Oh Jesus! Someone else made a. Oh, come on, where is it? The Mickey Mouse comment. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh no, I've lost it. Someone said
deleted.
No. Oh, here we go. Vinny Eagle says could play the League Cup there in Disneyland, and then it really would be the Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yay.
Oh, excellent. Or Loki says Arteta in Legoland makes sense. Rudy says, I'm curious to know how our lineup, especially at our defence, will be against City. They'll be in trouble. Right, I'm going to scroll down through the rest of your fans. Oh, Jonathan Porter, that's a new person. They still raise revenue from stadium fans, and football tourism is huge for fans from Asia. Visit clubs because they want the match day experience, much like if I went to the USA, I'd go and see the Miami Dolphins play. Couldn't name a single bloody player. But at least I'll be able to get a 9XL shirt that will fit me. We're going to go down to... Oh, here we go. Mr. Davis is get in with it. I don't know what he means. Oh,
I think it means get on with it.
Oh, right, okay. Is it... anybody know of anybody's birthday today?
No one's birthday today.
Nicky, anyone's birthday today?
Yes, Jason.
No.
Fucking ruin it.
It's Johnny Jensen's. Is it Johnny Jensen's birthday?
I think it might well be. Oh, no, it's Trump's birthday today, isn't it? I think it is. And it is the Queen's birthday yesterday. I think it is. Echo, Volume 4. We'll find out in a second. Echo, when is Donald Trump's birthday?
Donald Trump's birthday is on June 14th.
It's the same as Jason's.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense. Jason is Trump.
They could be twins. They
have the same hair. Stefan is there, like you were saying, Cory. Hello, Steph. And Steph actually rang me up and said, I thought I'd give you a ring and see how you're doing during the lockdown, because he's a nice man, and we spoke for about half an hour. None of you other fuckers get any ideas and ring me. Oh, there you go. Rudy's.
I phone you up and you ask me, what do you want? And then you moan that I spoke to you for half an hour.
Yes, because I don't want to speak to people. But Sean rings up. I say, you got 2 minutes, get on with it. And that's why she hasn't rang me in weeks. I don't want to speak to people. And Rudy's got it right. Here we go. Archie's having a little dig. Ramsey being sold after 1 year. What a birthday present. Loki says, happy birthday, Jay. So does Stefan. And, Johan Kammer. That's a new name. Not seen that before. Says, happy birthday. St Mary's has been blocked off from all fans. Wasn't the Premier League saying that they were going to play the Liverpool-Everton game down at St Mary's, and then they go, nah, fuck it, play it the way it's meant to be up in Liverpool. Everything will be all right. Fuck, that just shows how much contempt they got for the fans and for the rules, and make it up as they go along. This isn't a political podcast. We're going to move on from that, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
Jason, here we go. Loki's put Jason and Trump. He's in a pod.
Move on.
Yes.
Move on.
Right.
Don't say his name again, because it's going to be like that movie where you say the name so many times and he appears or whatever.
We have to say his name because he hosts the show on the live show.
No, not our Jason. I meant the other name. Don't say it.
Bad.
Don't say it.
Be like that bloke you look in the mirror, don't you? Say
Edward Scissorhands.
No, not Scissorhands.
Candyman.
Don't say it.
Candyman.
Yeah. Okay, stop. I digress.
So as a Chelsea fan there, being nice, that can't last. We'll leave it there. We don't mind fans from other teams, but we're not going to have people being, Julian Salmon has been mean about the Welsh, but he is Welsh, so I think he gets away with that. I think that's how it works. Jonathan Potter's put, Scousers are collateral damage. That's fair enough. Good comment. Right, moving on to the next point, which is going to be a quick one. Gav, don't do an hour on this. We'll start with you, Gav. Expectations for the rest of the season for the league and the FA Cup, because we're still in both. We are in the FA Cup, people, as hard as that is to believe. I'll give anyone 50 quid if they can tell us who we're playing.
Sheffield United.
Yeah. What did you think about the league and the FA Cup?
Shit, you were quick on that draw.
I'll have the 50 quid, Dan. Do you want my PayPal?
No doubt.
Yes, I certainly do.
Okay,
it's like
I got your bank account.
$1,000 Canadian dollars.
That is. What's your thoughts on the FA Cup and the Premier League, Gav? What do you want and what do you think is going to happen? I know what you want. You want us to win both. Stupid question. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really overly bothered. I wouldn't mind seeing a few good games of football. I'm looking forward to having a chat and a laugh with my mates while the game's going on. I'm of a firm believer that they should just cancel the football until August, September time. I don't think it particularly counts without fans in the ground. So whatever happens really. I'm going to watch the Arsenal games. I won't watch any other game apart from Arsenal, but I'll literally treat them exactly the same as I would watching a pre-season friendly. As far as I'm concerned, the season's over.
Because we're a nice podcast, I'm going to read this one from the Chelsea FC person. Says, FA Cup winners and send West Ham back to the Championship, and fourth will do. West Ham in the Championship. Imagine how they'll cope with that. First Spurs go bankrupt, then West Ham because they can't afford that stadium they were given for free. Cory, what's your expectations or hopes for the upcoming season, the rest of it?
My hopes are that fifth position. I think we've got as good a chance as any other team in that spread that I talked about, 5th through 14th. We play several of them in our run. We have the game in hand. So if you're asking me what my expectations are, I'm going to set it at that 5th position there. And as far as the season, I agree with Gav. I mean, like, the season is over for me. I'm trying to be positive, and the way I'm approaching it is just looking at it like it's a tournament. And as I said earlier, a lot of tournament football that I've seen has been kind of with no fans. So really, honestly, that part doesn't bother me so much. I understand the pressures effect on players, and yes, I do agree. But the quality of game we're going to see has been affected just through the break. But I think somebody said that yesterday it's been 100 days since the last game played. 3 months and a week. You know, how long have they been back training officially? 1 month, 4 weeks,
something like that.
You know, so I don't. The quality of football is going to be lower, yes, but it's going to be equally lowered throughout those clubs. Obviously, there's going to be a weight towards the richer clubs. Manchester United, Arsenal aren't rich, but
It's like it's just whatever happens, it's not a true season. I mean, we've got Tierney who'll be back playing.
Everybody
yeah, basically. I mean, Tottenham have got Harry Kane, who probably wouldn't have played again this season, and Son back. It's just not a true reflection of the season. Whatever happens, and
not at all.
So yeah, but don't get me wrong. It'd be nice to see Arsenal on the TV again, and it'd be nice to have something else to talk about without the problems in the world and the problems in the UK and America at the moment, etc. To
100%.
But like I say, it's I'm not. I'm going to watch the Arsenal games. I'm not going to watch anything else. It's just not a true reflection of how this season would have panned out, whatever happens.
Nick, before I ask you on your opinion, I haven't asked you already, have I?
No.
Someone has said here, that, talking about the FA Cup, I can't remember who it was, but someone said they've heard 10,000 tickets will be given to each club. And then Julian Salmon says, could the FA Cup final be played with maybe a crowd of 20 or 30,000? So what do you reckon what's going to happen at the FA Cup final, and what's your expectations for us for the season?
Well, I don't know if they could really play with any fans, because it ain't just about saying, we'll have so many rows of people standing next to each other and gaps and stuff so you could social distance. No matter what happens, when that full-time whistle go, everyone will just bolt next to each other to get out the door anyway. So whether or not, if they could, especially at Wembley, if they put everyone up at the top tiers and then put them go up like 2 at a time or something, and did it like that. But that'd take even 30,000 people. That'd take probably 2-3 hours to get people in and out safely. And that's not just the seats where we're sitting, that's the tunnels as well. I think that's what they were talking about before, why some stadiums couldn't hold the games, because the tunnels were so small and the players would be walking into each other just to get out and stuff like the same as Anfield. They go and slap that "This is Anfield" sign every time they go out, so they're all
that's the exact one I was thinking when you said that. That's the first running tunnel I thought of.
I mean, I said earlier, I don't think they should have any fans in until they've got some kind of vaccine, because that's not, most of us who would get it, a high percentage, we're going to be fine, but we haven't got to think about that. We've got to think of the other percentage. I mean, I said to my mother, she said, why don't you go visit your nan in the old people's home? I was like, you're joking, and I don't think I've got it. I think I've had it, but does that mean I can get it again? I don't know. Could I still contract it and have no symptoms because I've built up a certain immunity to it? I mean, I don't want to pass anything on to anyone else and off them.
Unlike half of ABW is passing off stuff off to unsuspecting ladies.
Oh yeah. But you say expectations of the end of I've got nothing, mate, to be honest. Arsenal broke me years ago. I mean, I'd like to win the FA Cup.
It's been an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, I'd like to win the FA Cup because I care about winning trophies and stuff. Yeah. I mean, we were in the Champions League for 20 years on the trot and never won it. So to get and the last time we were in it, we got spanked 5-1 twice. I don't. We're obviously not good enough to be in that competition. So to somehow get, and if we did get in there, our owners wouldn't either let us spend enough of our own money to buy the players we need to compete, and he definitely wouldn't put his own money in either. So what is the point of going into a competition that we've got no chance of winning? The only thing we'd get is some extra TV money coming in. And that's why I think he won't spend the money, because what do we get? Maybe 40, 50 million Champions League money or something like that? I mean, that's nothing compared to what we get in the Premiership now. 10, 15 years ago, when we had to make top four to pay for the Emirates and stuff like that, it was worth, I think you would get more for the Champions League than you would for the Premiership. You know, prize money and TV money.
But
now it's completely the other way. So that's why I said, you look at Arsenal as a business, even though people don't like that word, or as a company, why would you spend, 200 million or whatever on players in the summer to try and get 50 million out of the Champions League the following season? It doesn't make sense financially, and it doesn't always guarantee that either. I mean, we've seen Chelsea spend silly money and add a year or two out. I mean, even Man City, that took them a while to stay in the Champions League, and they were spending stupid amounts of money on players because a lot of them were just mercenaries. But yeah, if we can win the FA Cup, I think we won the FA Cup when Corona was going on, but whether it's Europa League, Champions League, not that fussed.
I'm a bit apathetic about the whole thing. It's going to watch it because it's on. I've watched a couple of German games. I was watching one at the weekend during the week where they superimposed a crowd onto the seats.
I heard it was all.
Go on.
Sorry, go on. I heard it was all squiggling out of line.
It was.
That's what I heard. How was it, awful or what?
Sensible Soccer on the Amiga.
Yeah.
Or kickoff, the whole crowd, they went, you couldn't make anything out. I thought, well, it kind of worked because if you was looking at, I sit here and watch the computer and I'll have the big telly on, and then if I was watching it like that, you can hear the sounds of the crowd, which I think worked, and you could just about see there was crowd there. But if you had a good look, you go, what the hell's going on there? It looks wonky, but needs must, I suppose.
Were they using like video of fans' heads, or was it cartoon, like animated?
You couldn't make out it was human beings. It was just a load of multicolours. I think it was meant to be a really badly out of focus cartoon faces.
Yeah,
it was mainly oranges and reds and yellows, so I'm not even sure what it was. So I mean, I was listening. Go on.
Did you see the stadium in Germany that did the one where fans were able to send like a cutout? Or they sent a photo or something like that, and they were put on a cutout on each of the seats. And
I've not seen that. No, but I've seen that you can buy your own FIFA version, like FIFA 20, that you can get your own card, and it was giant cutout cards like that of people's faces, and you could represent yourself in the stadium. I think that's a good idea. But like Nicky was saying, if you've got thousands of people sending those in, it's the amount of hours to, like Nicky was saying, 2 or 3 hours to go and lay them all, pick them all up, move them around again, and. Yeah.
Dude, I just think with all this playing fan noise and fake fans and music or whatever they're doing. I haven't watched it, but you watch like the WWE and the wrestling and stuff like that.
Oh,
it's not, but just own it. You're not going to get the fans, so go in a completely different way. I don't care. Mic up all the players, mic up the refs. Just let us see what they're doing. We can laugh at how they're talking or not talking to each other. Just get, let's say, get on with it.
I agree.
We were talking earlier. We are actually going to see, are the defence communicating to each other? Does Ozil go missing during the game and half of our own players call him a twat, a lazy twat? We're going to find out, aren't we? It's not being that much of a...
I agree. That is awesome to listen to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going back years ago when they didn't tell Arsenal when we were playing that match, they didn't tell them that the ref was mic'd up, or they told the other team, but they didn't tell Arsenal. And then obviously we had Tony Adams screaming like a little girl because
Millwall way.
Do you remember the days when the guys actually didn't even talk all that much? They used to have. Did you remember watching football when the commentators would just commentate? There were less opinion, and they would just tell you, what's going on. There would be long pauses, and there was a lot more fan noise then.
Yeah.
Another way to look at it, though, is in the past couple of years, you might know this, Danny, is in the US, there was a story came out where in one of the NFL stadiums, they were piping music in. Now, they do this because obviously the noise doesn't allow the opposing quarterback to communicate to his team. But it was a bit of a, it was a bit of a funny story, and it was embarrassing to a certain degree, I think. And so it's interesting now that they're giving us this piped in fan noise. And can they hear the fan noise in the stadium, like the players, or is it just for us on the TV?
I think it's just for the TV.
Right.
What if embarrassing?
What if they had a way that the fans, say through a microphone, could cheer, and it was all piped into the stadium? Could they do that?
I think that might be a little bit triple X at times.
Put Jason on there.
Oh dear, imagine that. Right, next thing I want to talk about is just to mention that the game is 8:15 on Wednesday night on Sky Sports, and it's not free. No one is surprised by the fact it's not free. The only game you're going to get free is going to be Norwich v Southampton or something like that. Some of the smaller teams. We're going to skip.
Wasn't that one that was originally supposed to be on Sky anyway?
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah,
So
It was, yeah.
missing game. The game that never was. Right, we're going to start with. We talked about the FA Cup. If anyone cares, we're meant to play away at Sheffield United at 5 p.m. on Saturday, the 27th of June. So that's 2 weeks from yesterday. So that would be interesting. The semi-quarterfinals are Sheffield United, Arsenal will win that. Norwich, Man United. Man United will win that. Leicester, Chelsea. Debatable. Leicester, a bit of dodgy form coming into the end of the first part of the season. And then Newcastle, Man City. Man City will win that. So the semi-final is probably going to be no one we can
Arsenal,
beat.
Chelsea, Man United, Man City.
Oh, that would be a surprise, wouldn't it? All them warm balls picking up. Right, I want to quickly cover is the warm-up games, Cory. Arsenal 6, Charlton 0, Eddie and Nketiah with 3. Aubameyang, Lacazette and Willock all scored 1 each. The starting lineup was Leno in goal, Bellerin right back, Tierney left back, Mustafi and Luiz at centre back. And then in midfield, Guendouzi, Maitland-Niles, Nelson and Ozil. So I think that'd be quite hard to know exactly where Maitland-Niles and Nelson were going to play. But you probably think a little bit, maybe one of them a little bit wide because you had Aubameyang and Lacazette playing up front. And then everybody was changed at halftime. So all those players only played 45 minutes. So Nketiah to score a hat-trick in 45 minutes, that's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the only thing we were able to see visually of that game was videos going around, 2-3 minute videos, and I did see clips of the goals. The Lacazette goal was really nice. I believe it was set up by Willock. Maitland-Niles, I think, assisted that goal. But and actually, Maitland-Niles on the short clips, he seemed to be in amongst all of the clips, so to speak. So if there's any indication that maybe he did well in that game, obviously it's nice to hear and see the goals Nketiah scored, to hear that he's pounding him in.
He's playing in the middle now, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's obviously spoke to Arteta, and he wants to play in the midfield. So I'll be shocked if we see him next season.
Really,
I'll be very, very shocked if he gets a lot of game time, and indeed if we see him next year. But he said he don't want to play right back, so I'd say might give him the chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay,
and there's of course that story floating around about him possibly being sold, but I don't know if you can't believe anything we're hearing right now as far as that's concerned, because everything's so crazy up in the air about money. No one knows.
I basically think that there isn't a single player at Arsenal who would not be sold at the end of once this season finishes if the money's right.
Yeah,
if the money's right, they will sell anybody.
The one I could see happening is the Lacazette out and Thomas Partey in. But you want to talk about transfers later, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a list of them. Nick, second half, Martinez came on. Mari, Sokratis, Holding, Kolasinac. So that looks like Mari might have played right back there. Then Xhaka, Willock, Pepe, Ceballos came on. We all know where they play. Martinelli and Nketiah. Surprising if Martinelli had 45 minutes that he didn't score a goal. That's a little bit weird. But then the next game, Nick, we lost 3-2 at home to Brentford. At home, it's not really a home game, is it? Willock and Lacazette. So Willock got his second goal in 2 games. So did Lacazette. Then the lineup was Leno in goal, Bellerin right back, Mari, Mustafi centre back, Tierney left back, Ceballos and Willock in central midfield, Pepe on the right, looked like Saka on the left, and Aubameyang and Nketiah playing up front. That was the starting lineup, and that's the only kind of sense I can make out of those the starting 11. What was your thoughts on that game? People were going, "Oh no, we beat Charlton 6-0, and then we lose to Brentford 3-2." I wasn't convinced by it that meant anything to either of the results, other than players. All the players are getting run outs. Every player that was injured, apart from Chambers, has back and has played probably best part of an hour each. It's all got to be good things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really watch. I tried watching the highlights on the website, but it looked like someone had been filming it with their iPhone, and it was just shaking about. I thought, I can't see anything, so I thought, no, I can't be. I got about a minute in. I thought, I can't make out who anyone is. I think they didn't have the names on the shirts either. So, and the angles for what they were showing, you couldn't really see anything. All I know is Arteta said after the game, because I looked on that, he just said we did try a lot of different things in the second half, which is probably good, because if we'd have tried that against Man City, they'd have probably scored 8 against us if we'd have tried that. So it's best that, he's had a while now to work out what he wants to do and what his first team or first 15 or whatever players is going to be. So with these friendly games, they don't really mean anything. So we'll just have to see what happens against City.
There's quite a few of the other teams played. I know one of the teams won. Man United won, I think 6 or 7-0, and then someone went, "Yeah, you played your reserves." So what does that show? Then I think Man United went and lost to West Brom. Most teams are playing. You take all of these results, mean absolutely nothing, do they? They're just all it is. Everyone's playing, everyone's getting time, and that's the most important part of it. Ellis is busy arguing with a Chelsea fan about which team is the biggest, based around Robert Fleck, Scotland legend. Here you go. Here's one for you, Nicky, from Ellis. He says, which would you get, the PS5 or the Xbox Series X?
Neither. I'm going to hook up my Sega Saturn again.
Don't fuck around, that boy. Gav, which one are you going to get? Or are you still on the Atari 2600?
No. Well, I had a bloody ZX Spectrum, mate. No, we actually bought an Xbox last week.
What for? T-Cozy? You don't know how to work that. It's got buttons.
I know. Well, believe it or not, I've played about 20 minutes of some racing game.
Forza.
I've no idea, Dan. No need to swear though.
Right?
Sorry. But on the bright side, the kids don't see them anymore.
Yeah, good. That's their gone.
Yeah. Complete bright side. I calculated the other day that I saw that without leaving the house, or the flat rather, I saw my son for 45 minutes.
Oh, it's the dream. You wait.
Just keep an eye, Gav, that you don't get your credit card bill of like $3,000 of Fortnite currency and FIFA coins.
If that happens, I will be seeing them 0 minutes.
If you do need to buy stuff online, Gav, go and buy the cards, the Xbox points cards.
No, I don't care.
Don't put your credit card in.
The only thing I care about the Xbox is A, it works, and B, I get peace and quiet.
Lovely.
That's
Cory,
all I care.
Are you a gaming man?
Yes, sir. Well, though I don't play so much anymore because my brain can't keep up with the visual eyeball buzzing stuff. But yeah, I'm more of a football simulator manager kind of guy than a shoot 'em up kind of guy. So that's. But I have a PS4 and I will always go with Sony. So there you go.
Like things like Football Manager.
Sorry? Yeah, well, you can't play Football Manager, I have found, on the PS4, but I do obviously have FIFA. But and I just, what do you call it? You play the manager career and basically simulate your games.
And like Jeff says, FIFA is not real life, so we will move on before someone shouts at me. Right, now we're going to move on to the juicy. How long have we been going? An hour. We've got the juicy part. I've titled it, bolded it, and underlined it, called transfer stuff. You're right, ready? 1 hour in. Here comes the good bit. So we have got what's this I've done there? Oh no, wrong one. Yeah. Start with you, Nick. May 20. Or start with all of you. Put your hand up if you have heard of our latest signing in May 2020. George Lewis, midfielder winger from Larvik in Norway on a free transfer.
No.
Yeah, mate, I've followed him since he was like 11. Like every day I've watched
He
him.
is 11. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how I followed him since he was 11. No, I've never heard of him. Not really sure where Norway is.
Oh, okay. Well, a little bit of information on him. The most important thing, he is Rwandan. Now, I don't know why you'd have a Rwandan at Arsenal for any reason other than we have shirt sponsors by them. They don't have a very good national team. This Larvik, a Norwegian 3rd division team, he spent time recently in the 5th division of Norwegian football and did absolutely nothing. So I think this is more related to his international team and who is our Spurs shirt sleeve sponsor. Still didn't get that right. So good luck to him. You never know. It might be. They've had a couple of young players who've come in to fill a hole and then done all right. Right, Gav. Aaron Ramsey leaving Juventus after one season. They signed him for £400,000 a week on a 4-year deal, which is £83.2 million. Now then, apparently he's up for loan or up for transfer for about 30 million quid. Yes or no?
Well, back to us.
Yeah.
No, his injury record. His injury record is appalling.
Yeah.
No, it won't happen.
Nick, you any thoughts? Actually, go Cory next because I'm trying to make it in some kind of. You don't answer too many back to back. Cory, what do you think
on Ramsey?
Yeah.
No. I loved the guy, and I was when he came to us, I was so happy, and I hoped so much for him, and I've never felt so disappointed. Well, I can't say that. There's been several players in the Arsenal that I felt very disappointed over, but him I still love, but no.
There you go. Nick got some stats for you that I tweeted on the 12th of June. So many people called it. I tweeted. I didn't tweet out because you can only tweet out. Juventus to sell Ramsey after one season in Serie A. Started 9 games, came on as a sub 6 times, missed 11 games through, I think 9 games through injury, 2 unused sub. Champions League started 2, on as a sub 3 times, missed 2 games. So for the entire season, he started 11 games and 1 cup game. And for the entire season, all competition, played 90 minutes once. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Well, he has, but it's not. I know Jason loves him and he's one of his mates, because they're from Wales. But his injury record is terrible. He had one really good, exceptional season where he scored quite a few goals, and love the bloke. He scored 2 FA Cup final winning goals, so he's going to go down possibly an Arsenal legend for that. But he was just always injury prone. You see how Juventus get a player. They got him on a free. They thought it's worth a try. No, he's still injured, and they ship him out after one season. I mean, how many years did we try and keep, Diaby, Rosicky, the injured players all the time, and they just take up a number in the squad, which means everyone else seems to be picking up more injuries because they're carrying the extra weight of playing more games because no one else can do anything. I mean, look at other teams like Man United when they had Hargreaves. He got bad injury, and then they just let him leave. They didn't keep trying to get him fit.
Bastian Schweinsteiger, another one they got rid of. Let's see, Ibrahimovic got injured. Then they showed him the door. Yeah, maybe we could learn a thing or two.
But Juventus have been doing that a lot. Just like, didn't they buy Emery Can or get Emery Can from Liverpool on a free? And did they loan him out or did they sell him in the end a year later?
The successful clubs are ruthless, is what you get now.
I think of course, that's what we've got to do. We've got to play the transfer market and get clever and a bit more dirty. It's long gone are the days where you get a player, we'll either sign him at like 19, 20, and he'll stay at us for 10, 15 years and then possibly go off to America for a couple of years and retire. If you can have a player for 3 years, 4 years, you're doing well. But you've got a plan for this. You can't get yourself where you're in trouble and, you like, I mean, are we talking about Aubameyang a bit later?
Yep.
So we'll talk about him later or now?
Well, hold on. Emery Chan Emery went to Juventus, played a season and a half, went out on loan to, I forgot what team it was now, I just looked it up. Paul Neal says, Rambo is my favourite player, but the club needs to move on.
Emery Can is in Germany, I believe.
Oh, he's with Dortmund, of course he is. I forgot about that. It's my German team. Julian Salmon says, Ramsey, another ox. Here we go. Haley Hollis, Jace to play Ramsey's fee in loans from ABW donations. We'll have a job because we turned off all monetization and all donations in, I think, March. I'm sure we turned them all off. There was one in Jace's last live show. Might have been. I don't know. Anyway, we turned it all off. If you've got money, you want to give it away, don't give it to us. You can't give it to us. I've turned it off. But yeah, there's plenty of charities out there, that food banks and things like that, they all need your help. And shop local, because they're going to need your money so they don't go bankrupt. Don't go to Tesco's or Amazon, scumbags. But do go to Lidl and say hello to Sian. She's working at 5 at the moment. What a trollop. Here we go. Jonathan Porter. Juventus will do well to shift him. He was linked to Spurs. Kane is their top earner on 200k. Ramsey on 400k and injury prone. Yeah, it's here we go. Rudy has put, I like Ramsey, good character, but his injury record is appalling and his wages is insane in his membrane. Here we go. Matt Roberts has put,
Could you imagine the nightmare he would have if he went and played at Tottenham? I mean, come on.
I don't think he would.
No, of course he would. It would just be awful.
Matt Roberts has put, Matuidi is out of contract soon. Juve will have a midfield conundrum. I do like a good conundrum.
I agree with what Rudy says right here, where Partey is using us to get a big contract at Atletico. Far too many players have done this in the past few seasons. I hate this.
He's got his stuff on and he's shaking his booty out the window at Arsenal, and he has no intentions of giving us a feel. That's not happening. Atletico are just going to offer him more money, but they're in a club in transition at the moment, aren't they? If Diego Simeone doesn't win the Champions League this season, I think he'll be out. But they've got a good side. They've got a good chance. So, right, moving on to the next bit. Nicky, you were saying about Aubameyang. Not going to do that one. Not doing that one. Yes, Aubameyang has been saying that he hasn't been offered a contract, Nick. What do you think is going to happen there? Would you sell him on? Because we paid, 58 million for him. We're not getting that back. He needs one more huge payday, because I think he's on about 200 grand a week. Yeah, you got kids there, Nick.
No, so that was me.
Yeah,
he wants your credit card, mate. He wants some Fortnite money.
Yeah, well, all he's got away with is a wet wipe.
Oh, sad times. Yeah, Nicky, what do you think is going to end up happening with Aubameyang? Is he firstly going to stay? And if he stays, is he going to get the kind of money that him and his wanky agent are trying to milk the club for? Because he is by far one of the greatest players we've had in Premier League history at Arsenal. Whether he manages to produce that on a game-to-game basis, I don't know, but he is definitely magnificent, isn't he? Without him, where would we be? We'd be down the bottom of West Ham.
Well, it depends who else if we'd have bought someone else differently when we signed him.
Don't confuse the situation with logic. How dare you?
I mean, to be honest, mate, we're stuffed no matter what we do, because if we let him go on a free next season, everyone will complain we left him on a free like we did with Ramsey. If we give him the massive money, like Ozil money, people will complain about like that. And to be honest, at 30, 31, his form will probably dip a bit if we add him for another 3 or 4 seasons. And if we sell him to anyone, obviously worse if, like, you know, when we sold Van Persie and that to United, people are going to complain about that. There's no way we can really win. But we just got to make. I mean, he has been offered a contract. I mean, I remember at the start of the season, was it Van Persie went on BT and said Arsenal never offered him a deal. Yet in that statement on his official website, he said that Arsenal did offer him a deal and it wasn't about money. So you got to take all the stuff in the papers and the tabloids. It's just a load of crap until it happens. He'll either stay or he'll go. And I'm not fussed either way.
At the moment,
everyone lies. They're all lying.
Well, of course
It's
they
just
do. I
crazy.
mean, I remember back in the day years ago, you'd see an Arsenal player. Monday he's going to Man City. Tuesday he's going to Man United. Wednesday he's going to Chelsea. Come Friday he signed a new deal. I think, you changed your mind, mate. And you talk about indecisive, but they just got to print something. So most of it they'll just make up. I mean, I think we've said to him what we want. He said what I want, and now we're just like a stalemate. And his agent will be putting stuff in papers and online, trying to make Arsenal cave in. And the problem is, we should start playing the game a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember the last time we forced someone out of the club. Which, I'm not saying you want to be like that, but we tried to sort of force Ozil out last year, or Emery did, and we couldn't get rid of him. You know, if we could have got rid of him if we wanted to, but we didn't lose money or pay to get rid of him. But we've got to start playing this game now, because unfortunately we're not guaranteed to be finishing first or second like we were in the 90s when it was just us and Man U. You know, there's a lot more clubs with a lot more money than us, and if Newcastle get that as well, that's going to be even more difficult to get anywhere near the top of the Premiership. So we've got to start, and we're talking about all these players from abroad, all Upper Meccano and Partey, and all these players I've never heard of. We've got to start looking further down the Premiership, and maybe in some of the Championship, because I don't think Arsenal for years have ever struggled with the flair and the technical players, and you know, the flashy players, and we've always struggled with, you know, steel and organisation and stuff. Like, you look in the chat, like the lower half of the Premiership and then the Championship, there's loads of players there that could do what we need them to do, but obviously because they're not the really expensive European Hollywood signing that everyone wants, people write them off all the time. But when Liverpool did that, when they bought a load off of Southampton and a few other lower clubs to build a foundation first, and then they added your Mo Salahs and your Fabinho, you know, and all those players on top of it. And that's what we've got to do. We're long gone where we could just buy 2 players and we're going to win the Premiership.
Archie he's singing from the Jason hymn book. Raul and Vinay have blood on their hands, which they have a lot to answer for. There's Rudy makes a really good point. We can't pay Alba like we did with Ozil. He's 30 years old and wants a big last contract. We can't offer that. I mean, if you're Aubameyang and you look at the state of Arsenal at the moment, you go, well, without me, this club is fucked, and I'm on nearly half the amount of money that Ozil is on. So that's probably why his agents are going, well, you deserve that if they can afford to pay him. But then someone else said that now, after all this, the situation that's going on, that we can't, all contracts are not going to be the same as they were before. Haley makes a good point here. Says if he wants more than 250 grand a week for over 3 years, I would look to move him on and reinvest the 20 to 30 million we may get back into midfield. I think it's sad that we've got to that stage, Cory, where one of the there's not many Arsenal players in the Premier League history that you would put above Aubameyang, is there? With his stats, his ability, and everything.
Yeah, and for that reason, I'd rather play with Lacazette than play with. Sorry, bad choice of words. I'd rather deal with Lacazette and figure whatever you got to do to get Alba to keep him. I mean, because you can move him into the striker position, which frees up slots to give Saka a contract. You could tell Saka that you're going to play him. Whereas if you get rid of Aubameyang, there you go. You know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. But
we don't need 2 world-class, really top-level strikers playing in.
I don't think so. We've even when we first had them in the previous season, the argument was always, could they play together? And they've never truly played together because they've never actually really, maybe once or twice, played as a duo. They've had to move Aubameyang out of position technically to a winger position to play them on the field together. Now, you said, because who is it here? Archie has said Saka's the big worry, and this is key, because with Aubameyang's age at 31, he's prime, but obviously resale is gone. Whereas with Saka, you have so many edges on that sword. You obviously have your investment in his resale, but he's a product of our academy, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's been in the academy since the age of 8. And if I'm right, if we were to lose a player like that at this point of his career where we've invested so much time on him, I think this is the most important deal we have to deal with. And if it means freeing up money by selling somebody like Lacazette, then fair enough, because I think if you look at the record between Aubameyang and Lacazette, Aubameyang's more reliable for us. He's the one we need.
Aubameyang will be 31 in 4 days. According to Wikipedia, it says he's 31, but then his age is actually 30.
What about Lacazette?
Lacazette is 29, and he isn't 30 until the 20. Oh, he's 30. He was 29, 28th of May. So he's already had his birthday. So he's 28 for nearly another year.
So he still has a decent resale value, and he's interested in
Spain.
He loved Atletico Madrid, right? He did. He'd love to go to another club, but I know he was, for some reason, quite attached to his time at Atletico. So
I thought he agreed to go, like, in principle, and then they got a transfer ban, so he ended up coming to us.
I remember that. You're right, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes. Right. Gav, question for you. People are just talking about Saka. How important is Saka to not only the team, but to being one of us, being at the club his entire life, coming through like the olden days, like you and me are always harping on about, where he's a gunner who's been supporting the club his whole life, been there for, like someone was saying, since he was 8. How important is it to keep him? Because if he left, like people are, there's going to be some fingers pointing to leave.
Yeah, I mean, obviously his agent isn't the nicest person in the world by all accounts, especially what everybody saw what his agent was up to on that Sunderland thing that was on Netflix.
Oh, was that the young lad who their top goal scorer, and he ended up saying, "Yeah, I might sign." Then he fucked off to France.
Yeah, they in the end the club had to sell him in December in January because he wouldn't sign a contract, and because they lost his goals, they didn't get promoted.
And the bloke they did get in, they paid over too much for, and he was shit.
Well, exactly. But I mean, everybody knew they had a few quid and stitched them up.
Yep.
The signing Saka and getting Saka to sign a new deal isn't just what it says about us and him as a player. It says everything for the whole of his generation of players, because there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 players coming through the youth team that are very, very highly rated, as highly rated as Saka was last year. So it kind of almost sets a precedent with regards to that. You can sort of get into the Arsenal first team, don't sign a deal, and at 21, when your contract expires, sign for get a nice sort of transfer fee, free transfer deal away to someone else and get big money. So it kind of does that, really. I would have thought that the interview that Arteta did a couple of weeks ago, I think it was with Ian Wright, and he said, the first important thing before the money is, does this player really want to play for Arsenal? And if you really want to play for Arsenal, then we'll talk money, but that's the priority. So I think really that's hopefully something that Arteta has dealt with over this lockdown period, is actually speak to him and give Saka an idea of where he'll be as a player next season, the season after that. And if Saka's buying into that dream, then, like I say, then hopefully the numbers will add up. But like I say, my main worry will be is if his agent does get the better of him and the better of common sense, look, it will just affect us with other young players in the years to come. That's the problem.
And it's, I know we should be positive, but we can just see him going. Here we go. Haley's put, curious if Saka would stay for 70 grand a week for 3 or 4 years with bonuses from goals, assists, matches played. Nicky, do you think he would?
Probably.
He's one of those greedy ones that's going to go, no, I want 150 grand because that's how much promise I've shown.
I don't think so at 18. I think it's good for the agents to make sure the players are looked after because, yeah, there is a lot. It's probably the power has shifted completely to the players where years ago it was all on the clubs and they would sell you even if you didn't want to be sold, even if you didn't want to go and you were playing well. If they got an offer they wanted for you, they'd get rid of you because that's what that is. And that was written into your contract. If they get a certain amount of money, you're gone. There's nothing you could do. I remember, didn't Seaman get sold to Birmingham from QPR like the first day of training? And they said to him, well, I don't want to leave. I just bought a house. I'm happy here. And they were like, no, off you go. So, you know, I don't know if we could. I mean, they're talking about giving him 70 grand. You can't do that. I mean, we did that before in the last Project Youth, where we were giving all the kids big money before they've actually done it.
Oh, he hasn't 40 grand a week.
Yeah, 40, 50 grand, which I know it doesn't seem a lot now. I mean, it is a lot of money, but compared to what a lot of the other clubs are playing. But if we're going to actually let him be part of the side and Arteta says, I'm going to play you, that should be more important than him with money because he could easily go somewhere else and sign somewhere for them and then their manager could get sacked and then he doesn't get played and then in a few years he's dropped down the leagues because people forgot about him.
It's a double-edged sword though, because if you are playing regularly for the first team at Arsenal, you can't be playing on 20, 30 grand a week because it's going to cause upset. He's on what, 3 grand a week?
Yeah.
Basically all of the under 23 squads and all of as soon as they get to 18, the majority of them are on 10 grand a week. As soon as they get to 18, he's probably on about 30 grand a week at the moment, and he's getting appearance money and bonuses and all sorts all over the shop.
How much do you think his basic is a week then?
His basic is probably 30 grand a week.
Yeah, but then there would have been news that he's signed an extended contract there, wouldn't there? And it hasn't. It's okay, basic. He's probably, like I say, he's getting appearance because that's why all the kids try their bloody hardest in the League Cup because they get stupidly high appearance monies for when they play for the first team. So that's why they're all trying their utmost to, blood, sweat and tears to win. Because it's just more money in their back pocket. But like I say, I'd be very surprised if he's on. Well, I mean, fuck's sake, what do I know?
Well, I heard he was on.
Do you know what I mean? What do any of us know? He's not on 3 grand a week. Most players, especially attacking players, when they get to 18 at the moment, are on at least a minimum of 10 grand a week at 18. The minute they turn 18, that's their contract.
It says here in the Daily Mail, Bukayo Saka, this is from April this year, Bukayo Saka set for significant pay rise from the current 5,000 a week wage in bumper new contract, despite Arsenal players being set to agree. And I'm not clicking on it because it's a Daily Mail. So,
no, but Gav's probably right. That's probably 5,000 a week basic, and then they're going to have appearance bonuses and all sorts of.
There's all sorts drawn into the contract. Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Let's be honest.
Can I suppose a what if? What if, for instance, do you remember 15 years ago or so when Borussia Dortmund went into this kind of mode of being a factory, if you like, where they realized they didn't have the money to build such a team, so they concentrated their efforts in the academy, knowing that they would be selling gems quite early for decent money. They managed to create quite a few big players doing that. Do you suppose that maybe the Arsenal are in this sort of position where they're going to have to be realistic and maybe go into that sort of
we are already.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's just been happening already. I mean, Chelsea have got so many players out on loan and so many youth players out on loan that they're doing exactly the same thing.
They kind of approached it. differently though. Like Chelsea are a different model where they did this thing like you suggest. They kind of introduced this idea of bringing players in and loaning them out so that other clubs were developing your players, then you sell them for a profit. Whereas Dortmund went more in-house. They focused on building youth and selling them at great profit. So although they were achieving the same outcome, they were doing it for completely different kind of ways.
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing out of it all at the moment is we've got the best crop of young kids coming through the academies at the moment than we have done than we have done since the mid '80s. And there's so many highly thought of players are due to make a step up, perhaps go out on loan in the next when the new season starts, that we're actually in a very, very good position. So, yeah, like I say, we are in that place where we've got to try and mix decent, affordable purchases with youth team players. I mean, like I say, I was doing a count up towards once Arteta took over, and I mean, we had some games where we had 6 youth products involved in the game at some stage, like 4 starting and 2 on the bench, and 3 starting, 3 on the bench, etc., etc. And I can just see that continuing. You've got to imagine that a lot of the youth players Arteta was working with and knew of before he left us to go Man City. So there is going to be that way of looking at it. And like I say, nobody knows what the financial circumstances are going to be to any football club at the moment. Once this comes out, I mean, like I said, you're looking at, we're probably profiting $1 million, $1.5 million a game just on gate receipts and food sales, etc., etc. So we're missing that. So for any player now to come in wanting big money, it's going to be an issue because the club don't know when we're going to have full capacity again.
That's going to be the issue for all clubs, though. So players' agents are going to find.
Yeah, and no, that's the thing. I mean, you talk about Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, Munich. They're not going to have any money problems. Man City, no money problems. Chelsea, no money problems. Tottenham just borrowed money off the Bank of England just to stay afloat, and it's still rumoured that they're going to splash out $200,000 a week for a new player. I mean, come on! It just don't. The whole money side of things is going to take a complete reboot. If Aubameyang, for example, or any player is after major increases in their wages at the moment, they're going to get sold. Every single player at the Arsenal at the moment, decent bid comes in, decent amount of money comes in, they'll sell him. They'll sell Leno. They'll sell Aubameyang. They'll sell Saka. They don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Could you imagine being PSG sitting on that Neymar contract right now? Fucking hell.
Oh, God, yeah.
Excuse my language, sorry.
And that's why, like I say, the other one, Ozil, we've got no chance of getting rid of him.
Yeah.
No chance whatsoever. There's no club in the world that's going to pay him $350,000 a week.
And now that his Adidas deal has ended, he's going to be a little bit short, so he's going to have to stay at Arsenal. He can't afford to take a pay cut. Right, Gav, stop talking. Jonathan Porter made a good point. Bentner had his wage as his shirt number as a total piss take. So I went and had a look at this. He started off with 33, then he had the 26 that we all remember, and then his new contract, he went and got 52. And he said to everybody who had the 26 on the back of their shirt for him, he'd refund them and give them a new shirt, whatever it was. So $52,000 for Bentner, and like you were saying, Nick, a whole range of players that were all on $40,000 each a week because Wenger wanted parity for the youth players, and he didn't want any of them to feel any better than any of the others, and so they all turned out to be shit apart from the ones
if you tried to keep everyone,
was a disaster. Sorry, no, that policy was a disaster.
So if you try to keep everyone happy, you're just going to end up pissing everybody off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how you can't keep everyone.
It's human nature. Human nature.
Right. Next bit we're going to move on to. We've been going nearly an hour and a half. I want a quick yes/no from every single one of you. And remember, it'll go Nicky, and then Cory, then Gav. So you remember the order, because I'm not going to ask you each time. So going in that order, there's a bloke at Lille at the moment. They are called Victor Osimhen. He's 18. He is the player they brought in to replace Pepe, and they say they want 87 million for him, and we've been linked to it. Do you think it will happen? Go in the right order.
No.
Fucking stupid.
He scored 18 goals this season in the feeder league. That's not too bad. Right, next one. Upamecano, 21 years old, from Red Bull Leipzig. Apparently, his release clause is 53 million.
No.
Fucking stupid.
Thomas Partey, 27, Atletico Madrid, central midfielder, does a little bit of everything. 45 million release clause. They want him to sign a new contract so they can get more for him.
No.
Fucking stupid.
This Italian bloke, 31, central midfielder. His name's Aaron something. £30 million or on loan. Nicky, yes or no, or loan, or neither?
Neither.
Cory?
No.
Oh, Gav?
Fucking stupid.
Here we go. Here's one. Now we're talking Arsenal level. Fraser Forster, 32-year-old, 8 caps for England, was the Southampton #1 for quite a few years, got loaned back out to Celtic at last seat of this season, won the league title with them, £10 million between us and Chelsea. What do you think?
No.
You've got the wrong order, Cory.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd do that as a backup. If he's happy to be a backup keeper, then yeah, I'd go for that.
I'm 32.
Dude, so you would be buying him off of Chelsea?
Southampton.
Oh.
Chelsea are after a backup keeper as well.
Oh, I see. No.
Dropped his mic.
If we sell Leno, yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't even talk about that.
Backup. You've upset Cory. Finally, for Coutinho, someone has mentioned this in the chat box, so thanks whoever that was. I wrote it down. Coutinho, 28, goal-scoring, creating midfield wonder from Barcelona. Apparently, reports today said Barcelona want a £10 million loan fee, but you've got to pay his £250,000 a week. What do you think?
Fucking stupid.
No.
And fucking stupid.
Okay, players leaving according to recent information that is probably all made up to sell clicks and bits and bits. So,
I'm
Bellerin,
enjoying this because I don't read this kind of bollocks.
what? One at a time.
I'm kind of enjoying this because I don't read this kind of clickbait shit that it goes about.
Tomorrow.
Bellerin, if we think they'll leave or we want them to leave?
You can do either, yeah. So, do you want him to go or do you think they should go? Bellerin, Inter Milan, 30 million.
No.
You've done it again, Cory.
Oh, my God. Sorry.
Yellow card. Nick.
Yeah, okay. To quote the last leg, bullshit.
Yeah, if they go Nick, then Cory, then Gav. Not Cory, Gav, and then Nick if you can get a word in. Oh, Nick Hayden got me.
Well, next player then.
I said no. Next player, we're done it.
We've done it, Dan.
Let's go.
Is Dan still alive? Dan, wake up, mate.
I'm reading, aren't I? I can't see whether you're talking. Maitland-Niles, £20 million to some unknown team.
Sell him. I'll drive him.
Yeah, I would sell him.
Everyone's for sale.
Oh, Lord. Aubameyang, oh, fuck knows how much. Fuck knows who too.
No, I wouldn't sell him if we can get him to sign.
Yeah, same answer.
They need him to sign a 1-year extension.
Okay, Lacazette, 60 million, Atletico.
Sell.
I have a hard on for that one.
Everyone's for sale.
Get them while they're hot. And finally, we had a player, an Armenian legend called Henrik Mkhitaryan, and apparently he's loving it at Roma. Roma are loving him, even though he's only played a handful of games, but scored a surprising number of goals in those games. And Justin Kluivert, son of the legendary Patrick Kluivert, who, if you don't know about him, go and look him up. He's an absolute legend of a player. A straight swap, or possibly buying him for, I think it was 31 million, Nick.
Sell him, give Saka the number 7 shirt and a packet of wine gums.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, definitely sell him, but they can keep the Kluivert kid.
Oh. Gav, do you know who these players are?
Do I know who Kluivert is? I know who Kluivert is. You
Well, we know who Patrick Kluivert is, but
to be honest with you, I don't think we need too many younger players. So just if anyone wants to give us money for Nketiah, that would be the biggest result since we managed to sell Haleb to Barcelona.
Will you chuck in some She-War merchandise to the team that buys him?
No, fucking make them buy him like anybody else.
He comes with his own bobblehead.
Yeah, especially if they're not Arsenal supporters, they can definitely fucking pay.
Now looking at the chat box again, because I written all that down. They're all replying. I should have looked at these. Oh, bloody hell, Josh is there. Well, I can't go for all that lot again. I'm the only one who can bring your stuff up. Jonathan Porter, we have 8 centre-backs, 4 must go.
Check Stephen Salvio. He hates kids. We need to be ruthless with the kids. There are too many of them. I think he's talking about like in general.
There you go. Haley says, would love an upgrade and number 2 people. That's exactly how I feel. Josh, here we go. Grumpy Josh. He's changed his Twitter name again, hasn't he? He's changed it to Grumpy Josh. Foster is awful. Shut up, just because he plays for your rivals. Here we go. Stefan, a little bit of sense. I would be surprised if we have any money to spend this summer.
Correct.
Yeah, I feel like that as well. Who else have we got here? I've done the centre backs one. Oh, here we go. Thunder. Forster's a unit. Who saw Eriksen's corner kick 5-hole Ospina yesterday's Italians Cup second round? I know that Inter lost, and but no, other than that, 5-hole Ospina. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he made a star shape, and he still scored. Vegetarian diet not working. What else ones have we got here? Oh, Archie says sell Lacazette. Archie says Mickey Bin. I don't know if that's Mickey Bins, that's his nickname. Rudy says Lacazette, Alba moves. What else have we got? Anything else in here? Josh says fuck you, Danny, haha. That's quite rude. Poor Josh, I thought this is bound to be interesting, not rude. Talking of rude, Rudy says Kluivert is not better than what we have, would add only another youngster. Right, we're going to move this on. Hour and 36. We're now down to listeners' questions. Thank you very much, you freeloading scumbags. I don't even know why I bother. We've got 3 questions. 2 of them are for fucking Gav. Right, Gav. Davey Boy says, can you ask Gav why aren't Bess's Yorkshire puddings are vastly superior to his homemade, in quotes, efforts?
I think if you have a look at my reply to that in pictorial form, I will prove not only are my Yorkshire puddings possibly the best this side south of Watford.
Did you take a picture of it?
I did, and I put it on. I replied to you on Twitter. You see how?
I found it. Go on.
Right.
While I work the magic, you know that's how we work.
How hard is it, right, to put half a cup of flour, an egg, and some milk into a bowl, whisk it up, and put it into the oven? If you can't do that, and you have to buy pre-cooked, frozen Yorkshire puddings, you've got no right to be near a cooker. You might as well just buy microwave meals or eat off takeaways, because you can't do the simple basic. Look, Dan. I mean, that is a good 3 or 4 inches high. It's got depth. It's got width. It's got colour. It was very crispy. It's got the big hole in the middle for your gravy. It was just cooking at its best.
Why hasn't it got a logo on the side?
Well, that's the thing, Dan. I mean, I haven't got a license to sell food.
No.
So, but if anybody wants the recipe, flour, egg, milk. Don't. And that's the problem. That's the problem with the Neanderthals like Davey that I speak to all the time, unfortunately.
I don't know why you bother, Gav, scumbags. Sean's mum makes a brilliant roast, and when she used to live here and I was ill, she would make me a whole big tray of Yorkshire pudding, just one whole giant Yorkshire pudding and a pint of thick gravy, and that just cheer me up. I just eat it.
Don't. You wait to see. I mean, when I do like a toad in the hole, which for our non-English friends is basically just a huge Yorkshire pudding with sausages, then it comes out like a skateboard, mate. It comes out like a skateboard. You could, I mean, for any Nordic people out there or Scandinavians out there, you could go like snowboarding on it. It's that big.
All right, that's enough good nonsense. Jonathan Porter says, why isn't that? Oh, it moved. We could do a Clive Allen on Cliver, buy and sell straight away for a profit, as he is easy to get rid of Mickey. Jonathan, you are assuming that the people who run our club have any fucking idea what they're doing, let alone who Clive Allen is. So for those who don't know, Clive Allen was a legend for Crystal Palace or QPR, one or the other. Really young player. And then I think QPR didn't want to sell to Palace or Palace to QPR, whichever way around that was going. And so we bought him, played about 3 friendlies, and then we sold him to the other team. Actually,
we bought him off QPR, and we done a swap deal with him to go to Palace to get Kenny Sampson.
Kenny Sampson, what a deal that was! Oh, here we go. We got some dissension in the ranks from Josh. I remember the shit Danny and Jason gave Simon for talking about the Bake Off. I think you're fine, my boy. I watched the Bake Off, so back in your hole, you ginger nonce.
And you had football to talk about when you were talking about the Bake Off. We haven't.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean Josh is a ginger nonce. I meant Chris Evans. No, not him. He's got money. Someone who's got no money and doesn't watch this. It sounds like heaven. I don't know if you mean Clive Allen or you mean the Yorkshire pudding, Steph. Either way, I smell what you're cooking. Quite literally. Here we go. Haley says, would you keep Mavropanos as he is doing well in the German second tier? Or would you swap him plus 20 million for Upamecano if they're interested? Well, save you the bother. If he's good for the German second tier, it's not going to work out for us. I don't. Does anybody trust him?
Not really.
No?
He had one good game, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And then got sent off a couple of times. So I doubt whether Red Bull would want him. But no, I'm in asking. Oh, here we go.
I agree with Rudy. On that Upamecano. He's glamorous. It looks glamorous in the clickbait links and so on. But I think that's a deal that you just don't do.
Only because all the people who used to play Meccano think, what? Meccano? That'd be a great thing. But no.
It's a good thing, isn't it? Oh, do you want to come to Arsenal and fix their defence? No.
Yeah, job's done. Next question. You can have this one, Nick. It says, do you think Willock could be our new Ramsey? This is from Gooner Dub. Seems to be very clinical and just lacks some confidence, which can be developed,
yeah. Well, I hope he's not our next Ramsey because I want him to play a few more games in that season than what Ramsey did. But if he's done well over a short period of time, similar to what Iwobi did a few seasons ago, over 4 or 5 months. If he can maintain that and then kick on and get like better and better, then yeah, I'll be happy with him. I'm happy to like let Ozil go on a free next year and then give him the number 10 shirt and say, where you go, son. But we're just going to have to see if he can, once players like that get found out a bit in the league, like I think Iwobi got found out a bit after a while, they either get past that or they don't, and then they drop down into the reserves and they get sold to Everton.
Okie dokie. Cayenne, she's here. Cayenne, I keep thinking of the pepper. No, Cayenne isn't a pepper, is it? Anyway, she says, big up, guys. Hope, she put it twice. Hope, UNUH, you are keeping safe to make it in the house. She put it 3 times. Lovely. Yes, I think we all are very good.
Oh, Cayenne, answer me a question. When you're doing like a jerk chicken stew, rice and peas, is coleslaw acceptable on the side of the plate?
There we go.
Just another, yeah. Another culinary thing.
Oh, Julian Salmon wants a quick answer on this one. Lads, what's your opinion on the German league? Can't say that I'm impressed, to be honest. Short answers, Cory, Gav, then Nick.
Well, I mean, it's not a league I've followed really too much, just because it's, a little boring. So yeah, it's not that impressed either, really. But being that it's the only football on tap, the lad will drink what he shall drink. You know what I mean? So I've been watching it, and it's been interesting. It's been most interesting to listen to how the team works while they're playing. It's been great. But other than that, the quality of football, it's okay. It's okay.
Gav?
Never watched a single fucking minute of it. Couldn't give a fuck about German football, or French football, or Spanish football, or Dutch football.
There's nearly 200 countries on Earth, Gav. You better stop while you're ahead before you start running out of names.
Okay, I'll watch it. Yeah, I literally only watch Arsenal.
Think of it too. It's kind of like a romantic thing. How many of us have laid on the couch having a nap while listening to the football game, right? And really subconsciously, what you're listening to is the sound of the crowd and the noises that go on and so forth. And because the crowd it's not the same, So
breaking food news. Kayan says it can work, but prefer press plantain, Jamaica.
Fair enough.
Good. Nick, any thoughts on press plantain, or any thoughts on do you like German football?
No, I haven't got BT Sport. I'm not getting that. I don't really watch anything outside the Premiership. I mean, I'd watch Norwich if and when they're in the Championship, which is quite often. And the only other games I would watch would be like El Clasico and Celtic Rangers if they're on. But other than that, I don't really watch any other football.
Someone's Haley's accused you of watching MLS during halftime, Gav. Is that made up news? Fake news?
Yeah, no, at halftime I'm generally going to the little boy's room and going to the fridge for beers.
Oh, look at you. Here we go, Thunder Road. Gav, the anti-hipster, Walthamstow edition.
Walthamstow? Walthamstow?
Couldn't afford to live there.
Oh, don't. No, no, I've never lived anywhere near Walthamstow. I met a few girls from there, though.
Question from Phil Macker. All this talk of food is making me peckish. Does Nick know if Nando's on the Riverside is open for takeout?
Don't know, I've never been.
Could you nip out and have a look? I'll ask another question. It'll take him an hour to answer, then you'll be back.
No, that's the other side of the city.
Bloody hell, I didn't know he had two sides to the city. Stefan with all other clubs are scum, home and abroad. He put hope, but I know what he means. I like German football. It's the closest to Premier League football you're going to get. Shame Bayern Munich are so dominant. You go back 5 or 6 years, 7 or 8 years when Dortmund under Klopp were a really good side to watch, and there were some good teams. You do get a bit of variety, but it's shocking the number of times that you will see a German team that's won the German league and then get relegated. Kaiserslautern, Wolfsburg, Werder Bremen look like they could go down, and there's been quite a few. And
save that for your hipsters shit, Dan.
I don't do that. I'm not hipster enough for that. I've got the beard. I've got the best beard out of any of them, but. Here you go. Macca's coming back with. I assume Nick lived in the posh part of Norwich. Just because he's got a posh car doesn't mean he lives in the posh part.
Yeah, I'm in the posh part.
Well, he is in the posh part. There you go.
Are you near the Royal Norwich Golf Course?
No. Well, I was a member there till they moved. So yeah.
Right, one more question for Gav from Kinos. Ask Gav if he has ever seen Nick's Cory. I do hope that's not a sexual reference.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Hey, when I worked,
Cory Pecker.
I used to work in a pub in England, and man, did I ever get some ridings, and I didn't understand exactly what they were getting at, but yeah, figured it out. Yo, Cory.
If there's any children listening, don't support Arsenal and don't listen again. Right, Fife's Forum. Thank you very much to all of the lazy bastards who didn't fucking reply to that. You're all scumbags. I'm never asking it again. I'm retiring this part from the pod because no one ever fucking replies. Don't know why I bother. Just gonna have a quick check here. Scrolling the quick show, make sure no one has done anything. No, they're all just tweeting nonsense to Gav, and because I messaged you, it's now all over our fucking mentions.
What's that? What about Yorkshire puddings?
And cricket and all that other shit I don't give a damn about. Right, the Feist Forum, each of you get 10 seconds to answer this slot. Starting with Cory, then Nick, then Gav. So I've moved it around, people, because now they're trying to work out who's who. Feist Forum, should the Premier League keep the 5 subs rule for next season and beyond into infinity? I'm the only human who's never seen that. In the right order.
Interesting. Yeah, I could be interested in that.
You didn't even use your allotted 10 seconds. Would you like to use up your remaining 2 seconds and give it to Gav?
Yes.
Took you too long to answer. You don't get the 2 seconds. Your time starts now, Gavin.
I'm last, Dan. You can't remember your own order.
Yeah,
Your
I get
turn,
a bonus 10. I get a bonus 10 seconds for that.
You certainly do. Nick, you've got 0 seconds to answer because Gav's got your 10 seconds.
no.
Fair enough. Well answered. What? You shitbag. Gav, you have 20 seconds. Starting now.
There's no. I just don't understand why you're having 5 subs when even 3 subs is too many. Why don't you just cut it down to 2 subs and then have the extra goalkeeper, which is going to change the whole face of football? Because you could be going into the 70th minute, you could be 1-0 up away from home, and you could have 8 or 9 players on the subs bench, and you could bring 5 of them on to completely dull down the game and play literally with 10 defenders. It's a complete change of tactics, and it's too American with regards to their on-off blah 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 shit. No, stick it back to 2 and a keeper.
Boom. Well done. And now for the countdown conundrum. It's RSEA.
Research.
No, arse. Your turn. Right. Yes, Josh makes a point here that 5 feet will be furious, but it is, there you go. 5 will be livid. Well, those fuckers, freeloading. I've been saying freeloading scumbags for ages. Now the Tuesday Club is back. I can't use that, so I'll have to make something else up. Here we go. Rudy with some logic at last. Predictions for City, guys. You can have maybe 20 seconds each. Start with Nicky.
Is that home or away? I can't remember.
We're away.
Oh, dear. Yeah,
crowd, but no crowd.
2-2.
Nicky's going for a Desmond. Cory.
2-1 for us.
Nicky's not. Cory's not gone for a Desmond. He's gone for an unrealistic score. Gav.
We'll probably lose 4-2.
There you go. I agree with Gav that we're going to stop shaking your phone around. It's going to be an absolute whopping. Didn't see. Oh, here we go. Matt L. Roberts didn't see FF on Twitter. Well, I didn't really include it. I only did it in the very last tweet 5 minutes before the show started. So,
what's an FF?
Car, isn't it?
Fifey's Forum.
Oh.
See if there's anything else.
I've only got 4 beers left.
There's no crowd.
I agree with Cayenne. Cayenne, again, great point. Guys, be optimistic. We're going to finish the season in a flirt.
It's Cayenne, not Cayenne. It's my fault now. I've mispronounced her name.
Cayenne.
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 Yes. Right. So we're now going to move down to Gav. Stop wiggling your phone.
Sorry, mate. This has gone on a lot longer than expected, Dan. So I had to go. So I put the little the glass away, which I was drinking my bubbles out of, and gone to get a beer.
He's eating penguins.
Yes. Right. So I did a wonderful tweet saying to people, name the show. So Marissa, who is an American Gooner, she's going to come on as a guest once the season gets started, said, name the show. It's quiet in here. The Sunday warm-up, finally, a football chat. It's too long. Ian 9492, 1% of the time, we're 99% right of the time. Right, 9% of the time. I've even got that wrong. Bobby check your booty says, shh. It's oh so quiet. The Bjork song. Very good, Bob. Phil Macker. We thought it was all over. It is now. That was a TV show. Andrew from the Dial from here to Dial Square. I probably got that wrong. podcast says, it's Football Gym, but not as we know it, Star Trek reference. Mr. DJ, Behind Closed Doors podcast. I added the to the beginning of that. So, Mr. DJ, you won that. Our very own Josh, I defiantly didn't want to say definitely. Kyle said, call it talking arsed. And Mike, the pervert from the Gooners Pervert podcast, that they don't even bother doing them anymore. Bath time with ABW or a bath time Wonderland. There you go. What a load of shit. Don't even know why I bothered asking. Upcoming shows on the people. I'm going to ask you for your gentleman's nod. So when I come to you, don't say I don't know, because I will move on. So upcoming shows. This Wednesday is the live show after the game. So the game starts at 8:15. So it'll be about 9:15, 9:20 the game will start. And then it will go on to the wee small hours. And yes, we will not turning donations back on again this season. If anybody, because people always chuck money at us during those shows. We've got a couple of hundred. Actually, I've just paid the bills for the site hosting, the URL, and one other one I paid for. Yes, so we've still got enough to cover next season as well, probably. So, yeah, we're no more. We'll turn all that stuff off until the beginning of next season. Don't give you money to people who need it. Right, so I am going to... Has everybody got a gentleman's nod?
Give me a second.
Right. Who said yes? Did you say yes, Gav?
No, yeah, go on.
Oh, you go first, Gav.
If she's listening, Ms. K. Hope you're listening.
If she's not listening...
Okay,
she probably isn't, because we're the worst podcast on YouTube. Right, Nick, have you got anyone you'd like to say hello to that isn't obviously Norwich, Ellis next door?
Oh, maybe. All right, we'll go with Jason then. Happy birthday, Jason. I don't know.
Happy birthday, Jace.
I don't know if they were taking the piss in the WhatsApp, said you're 60, but if you are, you look really good for 60.
60.
And
He's
I'm not going to say,
52.
Ellis, what I'll say. It's 50. I'm still old. I'm going to say, Ellis, I'll thank everyone else at Ellis's hospital when he had a day off and I went in there.
Oh, did he avoid you?
Well, he had a day off, which was either a good or a bad thing. I'm still alive, so it's probably a good thing.
Cory, do you have anybody you would like to give your a very, very special Canadian hello? Because you lot are always so polite. This is going to be a nice one, isn't it?
I was just going to say the last person that followed me was Josh, so I'm going to give him a shout out.
For fuck's sakes. Oh, I've got to go and follow you again, haven't I? I shall get that done.
Yeah.
My gentleman's nod, you may well have heard that we had a couple of debates about using the Y word in football. And I always mention my neighbour of 25 years. Jack used to live next door there, 92 years old, Jewish gentleman, Spurs fan, and he was the one who said, use it. Now, sadly, Jack had dementia and Alzheimer's, and he was living with his wife, Pat, and he went into a care home a week and a half ago, and he died a week later, 92 years old. Poor old Jack. He appeared in over 400 films. In Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, he was the bloke who waved the starting flag. In The Long Good Friday, he was the bloke who drove... what was the bloke's name? Bob Hoskins. He drove Bob Hoskins away in one of the final scenes. He owned an agency in London for extras, which is why he was in so many films. The last film he was in was Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter film, because for 40 years he was John Hurt's right-hand man. The film companies would say, you go with John wherever he goes, you go with him, make sure he's all right, make sure he gets home at night. So Jack did that for 30 or 40 years. And yeah, very sad that he's gone. He had a hell of an innings at 92. And,
God bless him.
Yeah, we're going to miss him. It's just didn't actually get around to seeing him because of the lockdown thing. Yeah, so everybody who knows me, who lives around here, knew him, and everyone liked him and loved him because he's a wonderful bloke. So, go. But he was a Spurs fan, so up your bum, Jack. It's your own fault. You say the same to me.
At least at his age, he'd have seen him won the league, though.
Oh, yes, he's the only one. He was the last one.
He's the last
one. Oh, he'd be laughing at that. I mean, one time he came in and I was playing FIFA and he went, who's playing? I said, it's a game. And he didn't know what I was on about. There you go. That's that generation. He had a fun old time of it. And he had some rare old stories as well. 400 films is in, but if you see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, you could make him out. There's a few others. I did all the James Bond films as well. He was an extra in all of those. Anyway, this isn't a Jack Ross Wonderland. This is a Dennis Bergkamp Wonderland. So anybody got any final words before we cut this off at the 2 hour mark?
They'll let them know about the show after the game on Wednesday.
I tried to, and I couldn't remember who was on. And you lot are all in the WhatsApp group, and no one's looked to check. I would imagine it's going to be Jason and. Huh?
I'm just checking right now.
All checking. They're all in the same group. WhatsApp is going to crash, so you can get it. Nice phone you got there.
Josh, Chris, Carl, and it says, and Jason.
Jason, Chris, Carl,
and Josh.
Josh.
That'll be a good show.
Good God. Josh ends it with, I haven't even watched 400 films, but he has seen Finding Nemo 400 times, and I think
I've seen 300.
Porn don't count, mate.
Yes.
No, the movie 300. Smart ass.
Good. Right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time tonight. I'm going to have a quick scan through because I always miss stuff. Done that. Upcoming shows, close the show, blah-de-blah. Right, thank you very much to all the wonderful people in the chat box who have put up with this shit for nearly 2 hours. I said it'd be an hour. It isn't, because we've spent long and hard thinking about interesting answers to pointless questions, as we do every week. So thank you very much, Nick, for joining us. You, sir, have been an absolute pleasure.
Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much for joining us, Cory. You have been an absolute joy.
Thank you, Danny. It's been great. Good to talk to all of you. And
cheers, Gav.
I was expecting a lot worse than that, to be fair.
No, I couldn't, could I?
Just for that, I'm going to phone you twice this week.
No, don't answer. I've changed my number. I've had it routed straight through to.
If you don't phone me, I'm going to phone Sean. It's your choice.
Jesus Christ. And here you go. What better way to end a show than Josh saying, "Up your bum, Danny." There you go. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Danny. We have been a Bergkamp Wonderland, officially the worst podcast on YouTube. We'll be back with you on Wednesday. So until then, goodbye.